What are the biggest mistakes the British expats make, and what should they actually do instead? After many years in the industry and after so many British clients, I think I've discovered the 4 or 5 key things that British people potentially should do a bit differently. Now, number one is a bias towards home country. In other words, this isn't just something that British people do. In fact, British people probably do it slightly less than some other nationalities. But keeping all your money in British pounds or in the UK FTSE can be a very expensive mistake. Now, I know the last 5 or 10 years has been an extreme with the pound going from 2 to 1 against the dollar to like 1.3, and Brexit and God knows what else, and the US stock market performing so well, and the UK stock market performing so badly compared to other stock markets apart from emerging markets. But the last few years should really show you that ideally you should either have your investments in the local currency, especially if you're in a part of the world which has a stable and secure local currency, or in US dollars, right? Yes, the dollar goes up and down just like any other currency, but it is still the world's reserve currency. So actually, as an expat, even if we're Brits, having a lot of our investments linked to USD or global markets, including US markets, makes a lot of sense. Unless we're only going overseas for a few years. I mean, if we're only going overseas for 2 or 3 years, then back to the UK, that's completely different, right? And then linked to that is sending too much money home to the UK. I mean, if you send more than £5,000 back to the UK, actually HMRC are automatically informed of that. That doesn't mean you're going to be in tax problems, but remember, if you are a resident in another country and you send money back to the UK, that's considered offshore investing. So obviously, if you're living offshore, from a tax point of view, it makes sense to actually invest in kind of expat accounts and offshore accounts which are designed for expats and so on. And also is not looking at your pension situation when you're offshore as an expat. Deciding whether to keep your pension in the UK or offshoring is another key thing. And also, I would say, is getting into extremes. Either not trusting people enough, or trusting people too much or trusting people too little. In other words, I've seen it time and time again where British expats have either taken very foolish financial decisions based on people they shouldn't have taken advice from. Say, for example, I don't know, opening up a Bitcoin account and it was really a scam or something like that. But on the other end of the spectrum, I've seen some people who, for example, were scammed 30 years ago. Then they think, oh, never again, I'm never taking advice again, or something like that. So having like a middle ground between being cynical and being too trusting, being naive, having that middle ground, I think is also one of the keys, because too many people are either not investing at all because they don't know what to do or they have trust issues, and obviously that's always a bad thing. Okay, everyone, I hope that was useful.